So hello, everybody. My name is Johanna Linde, and I am the face-to-face coordinator at the festival. Welcome to this conversation with director Karen Cinorre, the writer and director of the film Mayday. The film is Karen's debut feature film, and it is selected for the American Independent section at the festival, and therefore nominated for the Audience Award. Thank you so much for joining us, Karen. We're so happy to have you with us.
I'm happy to be here.
Really, of course, wish that you could have been here in person, but since it's still these times, we're so happy.
But I'll come. Stockholm is one of my favorite cities in the world. So
oh, wow.
I will be back.
Good. We look forward to it. So first of all, tell us about this story. Where did you get this idea of modern heroines from? And could you tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the story?
Well, coming up with an idea is a very mysterious process. And I think it came from a sort of a subconscious place, and also a deep frustration with how women and girls are portrayed in films, a medium which I love, but also in literature and in many ways, in songs, in music. Over the course of my life, I just think I forged this desire to create these kinds of characters in this kind of way. Mm-hmm. So I think the myth of the siren really appealed to me, and Greek myths appealed to me quite a lot. They were the first characters I read who the women were unapologetic forces of nature. They're just different. And the sirens were interesting to me because the voices of the women were considered so dangerous. And I think for many reasons that's true. But one thing that interested me is they were not wives, they were not mothers, they were like disconnected from the entire society as we see women. And so that, to me, I thought, oh, that must make them very dangerous. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. It really is. And the film is so female driven, with this group of strong characters that have troubled backgrounds and struggles, but are also joyful and free. And that creates such an interesting and complex character that unfortunately today isn't that common in female characters. What was the process like of creating these women?
It was an incredible process, one of the most treasured of my life, one of those great gifts. So the casting, I have a wonderful casting agent, but I did it in a very non-traditional way, I'd say, in that I saw hundreds and hundreds. We had a flood of people come in. And my casting agent is a wonderful man who said, I never thought so many women would come to such a violent script. Mm-hmm. And I said, they're not coming for that. I don't think that's why they're coming. They expressed to me how much the film spoke to them, healed them, got them excited. So it was a little bit overwhelming, but a wonderful feeling that the script spoke to so many people. And I chose women, not only who were interested in me and were good craftsmen at acting, but women who the story fully felt part of them. So in very specific ways. So it was, it felt like if I bring these women to Croatia, which was a very, we had a modest independent budget, and we were taking a big swing at a huge movie, and to have the story in their hearts and their minds in that kind of way seemed like the right move to make. Mm-hmm. So it was great. We made it so much together, and it's like part of our lives and our inner lives, and then we were able to manifest it into our outer lives.
Yeah. So were the actresses like involved in shaping their characters in any way, and like in the process of the story in any way?
In a certain way. It's not like we improvised or we deviated from the script. The script was the script, and they brought what they brought to the script, but I picked people who had an understanding for the language. It's a little bit idiomatic, and I could just hear the music of how the script needed to sound. And these were women who could sing it. And then when we felt we were drifting from that, so I would work together with them to either get back to it, or find a way to make something meaningful that they felt they could do, and that felt very true.
That's very interesting. And I also like how you said that the characters or people like responded to the script. And I felt that as well, that you kind of recognize these characters and it's very easy to connect to them.
Yeah, I'm hearing that, and that is very gratifying to me.
Yeah. And the story is very much focused in this one location of this island where most of the film is set. Was that challenging in terms of building the story in around that, or was it helpful to have this place to kind of play with while writing the script?
That's interesting. I haven't been asked that before. The terrain was challenging. Croatia, a wildly beautiful but rocky, storm-ridden, kind of volatile place. So it always actually felt like many places. The forests and the water were very different, really different feels, different light. Everything was different about them. Of course, the girls reside in this very claustrophobic space of a submarine, and that was challenging logistically, but felt kind of right and safe. And it does have various rooms that open up. So it did feel like we had enough variation to tell a big story. And it was mostly because of the wild, beautiful nature of Croatia. That's why I decided to shoot there.
Yeah. So it was more this like helpful way to visualize the story, I guess.
Yeah, it was. With this modest budget, I was taking on a sort of Oz journey. So she's goes through a portal and goes to a new realm, and I couldn't build that realm for them, and so I was like, what is the new realm? And I found a place where we could do it with nature. It had all the elements of what I would have created, but to me more authentic and relatable.
Yeah. The film is also very beautiful. Like the cinematography is beautiful, and it has this very kind of unique look to it with this like World War II-esque style, but also like feeling modern and free and kind of colorful. What could you tell us about like how you created this aesthetic look of the film?
Sure. I both my cinematographer Sam Levy and I we feel like color is a very incredible tool, and we think of it in a very emotional way. And so it was part of how we crafted everything. And my costume designer, Ola Slatsko, who did Ida and Cold War, is brilliant. And we talked a lot about, we brought in the entire team for the color palette. It was Yvonne, who built everything, and our Ola and Sam and I, and for color so emotional. And so I really felt strongly about what the colors were, and we started there, and then we built it out. And what was the other question about color? And the cinematography in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, color was a huge element, and also I tried to have the film move as much as I could. It was important for me for it to be kinetic, and I did want to give them a beautiful world. I did want them to feel free. I wanted them to have a freedom that I don't see women getting to have in life sometimes, and in films. So I wanted them to have a lot of freedom.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Um, in the beginning of the story, it feels more like an kind of adventure story with like themes of maybe vengeance and war, and but then it's also about like finding yourself, and Anna who goes on this very internal journey, and kind of starting to see herself maybe in a new way. So it's both a very personal story, but also a great adventure film. How did you balance these two very different narratives?
Well, I'm flattered you feel that it was balanced. It's definitely a tightrope when you're trying to do
Mhm,
so many different things. But you know, movies are meant to move, right? It's a medium of movement and sound, and you can find when you have beautiful actors, and if you can do it in the writing, you have such emotions that can go from raw to wild to anything really. So you
mhm,
have such a palette to work with. It never felt intimidating to do both.
mhm,
um, it is a flexible medium in that way. And we had so many tools, language, we had the emotions of the color, we had the landscape, we had people building things for us that were of the mood, and then the actors themselves brought reality to the women. It was never, we never thought of it as a fantasy film. It was very real to us. It was just a journey, and somewhat we all kind of understood it, I think, as an internal battle. It's not
mhm.
so much about the battle you see, and the reason it's not so straightforward, like kill everybody and let it all be over, is that it's a complicated internal struggle.
Yeah. And it is a very strong film that made me think about like portrayals of women in film and how important films like this is, that it's brought out there. Is there anything like you want the audience to take with them after having seen the film?
uh, I hope that it feels like a hopeful gift. It's
Mhm,
meant as a gift. When I was writing it, especially towards the end, I was sort of feverishly writing it because I realized that I have lost people to violence, women and girls.
mhm.
I've lost them. And I was sort of feverishly trying to get them back by writing them.
Yeah.
And I I wanted to celebrate them. I didn't want to feel totally tragic about them. I wanted to give them something big and hopeful and beautiful, that
Mhm.
and characters that reflected the complexity of who they were and the magnificence of who they were. And so I guess I would want people to feel like it's a gift from me. That would be my hope.
Yeah, it really was. I think you succeeded in
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
And lastly, as we are very happy to screen your debut film, are you working on something new? Any new projects?
I do. I am. I've started a new project. It's a very different kind of, well, we'll see if it's different or not, but it's a sort of half documentary, half fiction portrayal of a beautiful community. It's called an intentional community
Mhm.
near me, where a lot of special needs adults live. It's a place very dear to my heart. So
Oh wow, that sounds fantastic. We hope that we get to see it in Stockholm
I hope you
sometime
can,
soon.
and
Um,
maybe I'll be there to show it to you.
yes, hopefully. So thank you so much for joining us today. And
It's
like I
an
said,
honor.
we are so happy to screen your film, and we wish you the
Enjoy
best
the
of
live
luck.
screening. Thank you. And enjoy the live screening. We've been doing them here, and it's just so nice to have film back.
Yeah.
So I hope everyone
Yes.
enjoys the live.
Yes. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you in Stockholm soon.
It's a deal. Thank you.